Ever wondered what happens to nuclear waste? Spoiler alert, it's not all bad news. Welcome to the Innovation Current, where we discuss the tech that may create a better future. Let's kick things off with a question. Why should you even care about spent nuclear fuel? Here's the deal. Nuclear power has been around for a while, but like anything, it leaves a mess behind. That mess? Spent nuclear fuel. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh great, more waste we have to deal with. But here's why it's important. First up, the environment. This stuff is highly radioactive and needs to be locked up in a vault, kind of like treasure from Indiana Jones, but improper handling may lead to some face melting. Recycling could reduce how much of that treasure we have to lock away. Second, energy efficiency. Spent fuel isn't exactly useless. There's still uranium and plutonium in there that can be used to generate more power. Why waste what we could reuse? Finally, money and security. Recycling spent fuel reduces storage costs and makes us less reliant on mining new uranium, which is a big deal geopolitically. Less digging, more security, more money saved. Simple, right? Okay, so we're talking about reusing nuclear fuel, but let's rewind for a sec. How does nuclear energy even work? It's all about nuclear fission. Sounds fancy, but it's really just about smashing atoms apart. When you split a uranium atom, you get a ton of energy in the form of heat. That heat turns water into steam. Steam spins turbines, and BM, you've got electricity. Now, it's not just about smashing atoms. There's a whole setup in a nuclear reactor. Fuel rods hold the uranium, kind of like a giant battery. Moderators like water or graphite slow down neutrons, making sure everything goes according to plan. Control rods are the brakes, absorbing extra neutrons when things get a little too nuclear. And finally, the coolant, water or gas that prevents the reactor from becoming the world's most expensive hot tub. Now we get to the good stuff. How do you recycle something as dangerous as nuclear fuel? Here's a breakdown. Step 1, cool it down. After its time in a reactor, spent fuel needs a chill-out session. So, it's stored in pools for years to let some of the radiation simmer down. Step 2, separate the elements. This is like picking out the good candy from the wrapper. Plutonium and uranium are pulled out using some hardcore chemistry. Step 3, re-enrichment and fabrication. Now that we've got the good stuff, uranium gets re-enriched and plutonium mixes with it to create something called MOX fuel. Basically, this fuel is like the sequel. Same material, different plot. Finally, step 4, deal with the leftovers. There's still some waste left over. These non-recyclable parts are conditioned and stored safely, usually in stable forms like glass or ceramics. A little radioactive recycling magic. All right, who's actually putting all this into action? Let's take a quick world tour. France, home to more than just croissants and the Eiffel Tower. They lead the way with advanced recycling at their La Hague facility, turning spent fuel into MOX fuel that powers reactors across the country and beyond. Russia, they're not far behind, with reprocessing programs and experimental reactors using recycled fuel. Japan, they've got the tech, but after the Fukushima disaster, public opinion has slowed things down. Can't blame them really. The United States? Well, they're still debating whether to fully commit to recycling. Politics, money, and security concerns make it a complicated decision. China, they're coming up fast. As part of their long-term strategy, they're investing heavily in MOX fuel and reprocessing tech. Now let's talk about the elephant in the reactor. Is all this recycling really worth it? Let's break it down. On the plus side, recycling reduces waste, which is huge when you're talking about stuff that stays dangerous for thousands of years. It's also more resource efficient, reducing the need for more uranium. And for countries worried about energy security, it's a game changer. But of course, there's a downside. It's expensive. Building and maintaining these recycling facilities costs big bucks. There are also proliferation risks. Separated plutonium can, in theory, be used to make nuclear weapons. And let's not forget, the chemical processes used in recycling can be pretty harmful to the environment if not handled properly. So what's next? Are there other ways to reuse nuclear fuel? You bet there are. Fast neutron reactors. These bad boys use MOX fuel more efficiently and can even burn some of the more dangerous elements in spent fuel. Thorium reactors. Thorium is the new kid on the block. It's more abundant than uranium, generates less long-lived waste, and could one day be paired with recycled nuclear fuel for even cleaner energy. And finally, there's partitioning and transmutation. Sounds like magic, right? This involves breaking down long-lived isotopes into shorter-lived ones, basically speeding up the clock on radioactive decay. The good news is that countries like France and Russia are showing us what's possible. And with more research and investment, the future of nuclear energy could be a lot greener. Whether it's recycling, reprocessing, or developing new reactors, the world is looking for better ways to manage spent nuclear fuel. If you're interested in learning more about these revolutionary ideas, make sure to like, comment, and share with your friends. Let's spark the conversation about creating a more sustainable future together.